Jessica is accusing you of pushing her. I'm preparing a police report, so get ready." Robert's face was full of deep disappointment as he stared at me. "I would never do that. Jessica is." Before I could finish, I heard a loud thud and found myself sprawled on the floor. "Stop lying." It took a moment to realize Robert had punched me. I touched my face with a trembling hand and saw blood. "I've heard about your harassment for a long time now, but Jessica always defended you." Tears welled up in Robert's eyes as he looked down at me. "And yet, just because you didn't like her, you pushed her down the stairs. I can't believe it." I still couldn't process what had happened a few hours ago. Behind Robert, Jessica, leaning on crutches, smiled sweetly at me. When our eyes met, her sweet face filled me with dread. "Robert, stop it." Linda, along with someone else, rushed into the living room. She came straight to my side and wiped the blood from my face with a handkerchief. The person with her was a police officer. Perfect timing. "Arrest this woman." "Robert, the one who should be arrested isn't our mother." "What?" "I have evidence." What Robert showed us next was shocking. It would soon reveal Jessica's true colors. "I'm Susan, 63 years old, with a son and a daughter. My husband passed away 3 years ago, and now I live with my eldest daughter, Linda. Although she's 33 and works in a female-dominated environment, she's still single. One day, while living peacefully with Linda, I got a call from my son, Robert. "Hey, Mom, I'm going to be transferred to your city next month." "What? Next month? That's so soon." Robert got married last year and has been living in another state. His company requires a lot of relocation, and he only visited during Christmas. We've been looking for an apartment since last month, but Jessica couldn't find one she liked. Jessica, Robert's wife, is a young and pretty 23-year-old. I don't know what she sees in my son, who's turning 38 this year, but he's head over heels for her. "Can we stay at home until we find a place? Our house is close to the station, so it's convenient for commuting." Our home is near a station, and a few years back, a big shopping mall was built nearby, making it a prime location. "Well, let's meet up and discuss it." "Got it. How about this Sunday?" And so, after a long time, our whole family gathered. "Hello, Susan and Linda. Sorry we've been away for so long. We really apologize for not finding a house yet." Seeing Jessica again after a while, she seemed very modern, almost like a granddaughter coming for a visit. "We want to buy a house someday. That's why we're saving money now. It's hard to find a place that's affordable and to our liking." She seemed more mature than I remembered. However, Robert's job requires him to relocate frequently. I wonder what they're planning. We don't want to keep moving and uprooting our kids. Imagine them making friends only to say goodbye soon after. "Oh, Robert, I never thought you'd think about such things." I watched the two of them with a warm smile. "I understand, but how about setting a deadline of 6 months? We have Linda here, and we have our own lives, you know." "I get it. We'll probably find a place before that. Is it okay if we cover half the living expenses?" "Oh, Robert, I'm going to look for a job nearby, so I have to contribute." I couldn't help but laugh. I'd always been concerned about Jessica, who's 15 years younger, but she seemed more mature than I'd expected. "Just the living expenses will be fine since it's just for half a year." And so, our temporary cohabitation began. At that time, Linda set some rules for the couple. "Please don't enter my room and don't touch my things. I think you can distinguish between my stuff and Mom's." Okay, we'll be careful. You really don't like people touching your things, huh, Linda?" Jessica cheerfully responded. Looking back, Linda might have felt like she was being intruded upon from that moment. It couldn't be helped. Robert and his wife would be living on the second floor, where Linda's room was also located. Once they moved in, Jessica eagerly helped with household chores. She finish cleaning and laundry in the morning, leave to look for a job in the afternoon, and return in the evening to help prepare dinner. I absolutely love your cooking, Susan. My parents never really cooked, so I'm happy to be in the kitchen with you. Oh, can I taste this? Jessica was very friendly and effortlessly closed the distance between us. She had a way of getting into your heart just like a kitten. After a few days of living together, I could see why Robert had fallen for her. Today, I got a part-time job offer. About 2 weeks into our living arrangement, Jessica announced this at dinner. It's a job shipping interior goods. Sounds fun, right? 5 days a week, from 9 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m., I'm going to work hard. Are you sure? You don't need to overdo it. It's all right. It's for our future, after all. But I might not be able to help around the house as much as before, but I'll make sure to wake up early and not cause any trouble. Her determination made me want to support her. That's fine. I'll take care of the house chores so you can focus on your job. The first few weeks are always tough. And so I took over all the household tasks. If it was to support Robert and his wife, it was the least I could do. With Linda helping out on weekends, it wasn't too bad. Once Jessica started her job, she seemed exhausted when she came home. I was glad I'd taken over the chores. One day, I witnessed Linda confronting Jessica. "Hey, Jessica, I told you not to touch my stuff. You've been using my cosmetics in the bathroom, haven't you?" "I'm so sorry. I'm saving money right now and can't afford to splurge. I'm truly sorry." Jessica apologized with a puppy dog look, but Linda didn't seem to accept it. "Don't just use other people's things and save money for yourself. If you do it again, I'll get the money from Robert, okay?" "I'm really sorry." I was concerned about Linda's frustrated demeanor, so I called her to my room that night. She told a surprising story. When Robert wasn't around, Jessica would come to her room and complain. "She's telling me to move to the room downstairs since I'm in their way. She acts all sweet in front of you, Mom, but she's really not." Knowing Jessica's amiable nature, it was hard for me to believe Linda. However, the tension between them was evident. In the following days, Linda would get irritated and Jessica would apologize. It was a common scene. On a Sunday evening, while everyone was gathered in the living room, Linda was folding the laundry. "Jessica, at least fold your own laundry. Just because you started working doesn't mean you get a pass on everything, right?" "I'm sorry, I just got a bit lazy. I'll do it right away. Please forgive me. I'm really sorry." Tears welled up in Jessica's eyes as she went over to take the laundry from Linda. "Hey, Linda, there's no need to speak to her like that. Just help her out." Robert then wrapped an arm around a teary-eyed Jessica. Jessica looked up at Robert with watery eyes. "Jessica, I'm sorry about my family. Let's go out for dinner tonight. Mom, Linda, if you bully Jessica, I won't let it go." Saying this, the two left the house. "What's with them?" "Robert is just too soft on Jessica." "Ah, so infuriating. Mom, let's go out for dinner tonight, too." "All right, but before that, I have something to discuss with you, Linda." I had secretly planted a voice recorder in Linda's room because I couldn't believe what she told me the other day, and what I heard was Jessica's harsh language, far worse than I'd imagined. And now there was this situation. "I want you to live with your aunt for a while. I've already asked her." "What? Mom, what are you talking about? I don't want to. Why do I have to?" "Please, just until they move out." Perhaps Jessica was a lot more cunning than I thought. She intentionally angered Linda and played the victim in front of Robert. I didn't want Linda to be the villain in Jessica's narrative anymore. "I want to protect you. Please, it's the biggest favor I'll ever ask of you." Maybe Linda sensed the urgency in my tone as she silently nodded. Despair was evident in her eyes. I hugged her and whispered, "We'll be back to our regular life soon." I needed to end this living situation soon. We were only 3 months away from the deadline of the living arrangement with Robert and Jessica. After Linda left, Jessica became even more relaxed at home. She didn't show me any of the attitude she had with Linda, and that confused me even more. It feels kind of lonely now that Linda is gone, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Please think of me as your real daughter from now on. I think of you as my real mother, Jessica said with an innocent smile, but I felt mixed emotions. It sounded as if Linda would never come back. As days went by, Jessica began to act more and more spoiled, as if I really were her mother. Susan, I want to eat that tonight. Susan, can you iron this for me? Susan, let's go shopping together soon. To an outsider, we might have looked like a real mother and daughter. Once you let someone into your heart, it's hard to push them away for no reason. I continued living with Robert and his wife, feeling conflicted and uneasy. Around that time, whenever Robert was late from work, Jessica also came home late, and occasionally she'd say things like, "Susan, can you lend me some money?" I started to hold back my thoughts more and more, thinking, it's only for a little longer. Linda would visit on Robert's days off. Sitting with her, sipping tea, it felt as if we were still living together. Mom, I couldn't trust Jessica after I moved out. I had a private investigator look into her. She's a big liar. What Linda told me was shocking. Jessica was working only 3 days a week, and the other 2 days she was meeting a man, at least 2 men in fact. It seemed more like they were giving her allowances rather than being romantic relationships. But Linda said seriously, Jessica has someone else she truly loves. She seems to be giving all her money to this main guy. For Jessica, Robert might just be someone who gives her pocket money. I can't believe it. I was in a strange state of shock and realization, but I couldn't forgive her for involving and hurting my precious family. I'll gather more evidence and then talk to Robert. I don't want Jessica to do as she pleases, and I don't want Robert to get hurt. Linda seemed to feel the same way as me. I had been thinking I just needed to be patient a little longer, but that feeling was completely gone. I also needed to prepare for any unforeseen circumstances. Hey, have you guys found a place yet? It's almost the end of our agreed period. I hadn't heard much about their house hunting since we started living together. I had always wondered if they were really looking. Yeah, we checked out some places near my office the other day. Found a few good ones, so Jessica and I will go for a viewing soon. That's good to hear. What? Robert, you said you'd leave it to me. I like it here. Linda moved out, so why can't we just live here? I was at a loss for words. Jessica hadn't been looking for a place after all. I had been putting up with her recent behavior, thinking, it's only for a little while longer. No, you have to honor our agreement. The only reason I asked Linda to leave is because we agreed it would be temporary. I can't ask her to endure this any longer. Well, there's no place better than this one. She probably didn't expect me to refuse. For the first time, I saw a disgruntled expression on Jessica's face. We can't stay here, okay? Even if we have to pay a little more in rent. Robert was desperately trying to soothe her, but Jessica stormed off upstairs. Maybe this was the last straw because a few days later, a disaster struck. That day, I was trying to carry laundry down from the balcony on the 2nd floor. I had washed sheets and was holding a large pile. Be careful, Susan. I'll carry it down for you. Jessica, who had apparently come out of her room, offered to help. Oh, thank you. As I handed her the laundry, Jessica smiled slightly. Susan, I always get what I want, no matter what it takes. Excuse me. I thought I had managed both Linda and you. Such a pity. I was confused, not understanding what Jessica was getting at, and the next moment, no, Mom. Stop it. Suddenly, Jessica, still holding the laundry, dived down the stairs. I stood frozen at the top of the stairs. It felt like watching something in slow motion. With a loud thud, Jessica tumbled down. Robert, who was in the living room, rushed over to her. "Jessica, Jessica. Mom, call 911. Snapping back to reality, I quickly called an ambulance from my cell phone. When the ambulance arrived, Robert accompanied Jessica to the hospital. I remained paralyzed at the top of the stairs, alone in the house and still in shock. I found myself calling Linda. My voice trembled as I recounted the recent events. "Mom, it's okay. I need to check something and then I'll come over," Linda said and hung up. I don't know how much time had passed when I heard the front door open in the now dark house. I rushed to the entrance. "Robert, how's Jessica?" Behind Robert stood Jessica, her left leg in a cast and leaning on crutches. Perhaps the laundry cushioned her fall, as she didn't require hospitalization. Seeing Jessica with bandages wrapped around her slender arms and head was heart-wrenching. "Jessica, are you okay?" Hesitating to speak to her, Robert answered for her. "What nerve do you have to ask that? What Jessica said, you pushed her. We are even preparing to press charges, so be ready." Robert's face was filled with disappointment. "But I wouldn't do that. Jessica, just as I was about to speak, I heard a heavy thud and found myself collapsing onto the floor. "Stop lying." It took me a moment to realize that Robert had punched me. I held my trembling hand to my face and saw blood. "I've been hearing about your mistreatment of Jessica for a while, but she always defended you." Looking down at me, tears filled Robert's eyes. "And yet to think you push her down the stairs. I can't believe it." Even now, I still can't believe the events from a few hours ago. Behind Robert, Jessica, leaning on her crutches, met my eyes and gave me a sly smile. I felt a chill of fear at that seemingly innocent expression. "Look at this. There's no denying it." I heard Jessica scream. Robert showed me a video on his phone which captured Jessica falling from the stairs, and standing at the top, it looked like I was looming menacingly over her. "Robert, stop it." Linda entered the living room with someone. She rushed straight to me and wiped my blood with a handkerchief. With her was a police officer in uniform. "Just in time. Arrest her." "Robert, the one who should be arrested isn't Mom." "Huh. I've got evidence. If shown the earlier footage, anyone would see it as my wrongdoing. I was stiff with anxiety." Linda, alongside the police officer, reviewed the footage. "It's so clear from this angle. It looks like Mom pushed her." The officer beside her nodded in agreement. "But what if we look from a different angle?" At those words, Jessica's eyes widened in shock. Linda took out her cell phone to show. Linda said, "After I left the house, I had a hunch about Jessica, so I set up cameras all around the house." Wait a minute. Isn't that an invasion of privacy? "Oh, weren't you doing the same thing?" Jessica grimaced hearing that. From the footage on Jessica's camera, the angle was from below the staircase, from the opposite side, concealed between a family photo on the shelf. Being closer to the camera, the audio was clear as well. "Oh, is this a joke?" She jumped on her own. "It's scary. I got a call from Mom and checked the camera footage." Thanks to Linda, my innocence was proven. Jessica wanted to live here with her true boyfriend. After getting rid of Mom, she planned to get rid of you next, Robert. What? A few days ago, on the camera installed in Linda's room, Jessica was enthusiastically talking about her plans over the phone with her affair partner. After realizing the seriousness of this incident, Linda brought the footage to the police. "Robert, it's not what you think. I did all this for us, for you and me. You know she's got 2 other guys she's seeing, rich old men. I have pictures to prove it." "No, Linda is just trying to frame me. Robert, believe only in me." Jessica still seemed to think she could deceive Robert, even after all that's been revealed. She looked at Robert with desperate eyes, begging for him to believe her. But I had something that would reveal Jessica's true intentions. It was time. You sure about that? I did my own digging, asked Linda about Noah. Upon hearing the name Noah, Jessica visibly flinched. Noah was her main squeeze. She must have really fallen for him hard, otherwise she wouldn't have pulled a stunt like throwing herself down the stairs. And when I talked to Noah, both Linda and Robert looked shocked. I decided to visit the bar where Noah worked during the day. When I mentioned I was Jessica's mother-in-law, he was surprisingly willing to chat, perhaps to avoid any potential trouble. I retrieved a voice recorder from my room and played it back. "Oh, Jessica, to be honest, she's a handful. I'm just being nice because it's my job, but she's way too obsessed. We were even considering banning her from the bar." "What? I thought she was your favorite." "Nah, she's just another customer. She's not even my type and doesn't spend much. If you see her, tell her she's a nuisance." The color drained from Jessica's face. For a popular guy like Noah, the amount Jessica spent on him was negligible. I didn't care if Noah was telling the truth. I just wanted to hear him speak about Jessica. "It can't be. Noah wouldn't say that. We promised we'd be together forever." "Oh, so it wasn't for Robert's sake after all." With a glare, Jessica lost her words as the officer apprehended her. Hearing Noah's own words must have hurt. "We'll get the rest of the story at the station." As the officer began to lead Jessica away, Robert spoke up. "Jessica, didn't I tell you? You can't live here. The house is under Linda's name." "What the hell?" Jessica turned around with a loud shout. Her face was flushed with anger, her emotions raw and visible, and with a fury that looked like she might lunge at Robert, she yelled, "Just for that, I broke my leg trying to get rid of Linda and that old hag. But it was all for nothing. No money, no house. You're just a worthless old man." Jessica continued her tantrum as the officer restrained her and led her to the patrol car. Indeed, in my husband's will, it read, "The house is to be inherited by whoever takes care of Susan to the end." Robert, having no intention of returning to his hometown, had declined his inheritance. "Mom, I'm sorry." "What have I done?" Robert, despite his age, burst into tears. It was a relief that everything ended at just this. We were on the brink of letting Jessica single-handedly ruin our family. In the silence that enveloped our home, the three of us embraced each other. I was concerned for Linda. Linda worried for her brother and me, and Robert regretted almost letting his wife ruin everything. Being able to protect my precious family gave me profound relief. At the same time, I was deeply shaken by realizing the terrifying person I had inadvertently led into our lives. Jessica and Robert's marriage eventually ended in divorce. Linda's investigation and surveillance camera footage played a crucial role in facilitating a smooth separation. Subsequently, Jessica faced arrest when it became apparent that her intentions included scheming against me, seizing control of the house, and orchestrating an accident to eliminate Robert. The memory of Jessica's ecstatic expression as she descended those stairs still sends shivers down my spine. Without Linda's camera, I might have struggled to defend myself, and Jessica's sinister plans might have succeeded. Her face bore an unmistakable aura of madness at the time. Following the divorce, the three of us shared a home for a while. A year later, Robert was transferred once again. He expressed his disillusionment with marriage, but as a mother, I can't help but wish him well in finding a caring partner. Linda and I continue to reside in the same house, now just the two of us. While I hold out hope for Linda's romantic future, I am content to embrace the tranquility